So BTC still playing games with us, floating around the 63,500 level, looking interesting. At least we have a trend line in place that we can start playing with. And today is going to be pretty interesting. We've seen some bullish news and some various things coming out of there. And I've pulled out the Solana chart for you. I've pulled out ETH for you. And I've got a little narrative that I'm looking at the moment that I think could start moving in the next few days, maybe within the next week. And then I've also got a 5x banger that could be playing out over the next few weeks as well for you guys. So we got a lot to talk about here today. Let's get right into this. There we go. Got it up right in time. Okay, so Banter Bubbles looking interesting. We've just seen ENA start pumping. Now, they've released some news, and I've got a tweet on that. So I'm going to take you guys through that thing as well. So that's a little 12% pumper that's happening at the moment. Render, this thing has been unstoppable. We've been talking AI for the last 2 weeks. We've been talking this narrative, the tie-in with Apple, and now it's all come to an head now, and they've released their information. So the question I'm asking you guys right now, also in the poll, please go fill in the poll there. In the chat, is this AI pump over now that Apple have released their announcement? We've noticed that Render has been ripping, and they've come up with the news, and is this the last sort of push now for Render? So let me know in the poll what you guys are thinking. Are we done with AI? Is it time to move on to our next potential narrative? And look what else has also woken up here, interestingly. CAS, that's been very quiet over the last few weeks, and I've been charting that, but it's not been very exciting. So maybe something is going to be playing out there with CAS in the near future. Let's look at BTC and just see what is going on here today. And you can see I've drawn a little trend line now. So finally, we have our new fun line in play. This is something that now can give us a guide. This is our bull versus bear line that we can play around with. And finally, it's in play because we had a nice little Bitcoin rejection a little higher up here. We had it at 64,500. Nice little move down from Bitcoin. And it's given us now a little guide that we can start playing with. So you can see here, we've got this trend in play. And what does this mean for me? This is essentially our fun line. When we start blowing this trend, we can get extra bullish. When we start tracking down the trend, we have to just be a little bit more cautious with things. So what am I watching right now? Upside, I've got my eyes on this trend, 64,500. If we do start pumping higher, you know the drill now. We want to pump up here. We want to break nice and clean. And then we want to start looking at the 64.5, maybe down to about 64K as a potential support zone for the next potential Bitcoin move up. So this is now what I'm watching very closely. And then support is our lows from earlier. So we are looking at 62,670. So watch this region closely. You can see this is now a big area for us. Every time we've dropped into the zone, they've been buying this thing up and pushing it higher. So very interesting level to watch. A little bit lower down. Let's not forget about our trusty 382. This thing still hasn't been tapped. So this is a big one now that we need to be watching. 62K, that hasn't changed. And then yesterday's level as well, this hasn't changed. 60K. These are the big ones. These are the troubled areas. These are the ones where we're going to sweat if we're pushing down into that 618. But we should and could get a decent bounce if they are going to bleed us down there. I saw some comments there in the chats, Ray, about NVIDIA earnings. Yes, so yeah, a very good point from Jesse regarding Render and things. We've got NVIDIA earnings coming up, I think 22nd of May. Maybe there's still going to be a little bit more energy in Render and some of these other AI tokens. So could be on the cards. Let's see what you guys are actually saying on the poll currently. Let's just get a picture of what you guys are thinking. Oh, 68% are still bullish on these AI tokens. Okay, that is very interesting. Let's look at what is going on out there. This has just actually come out a few minutes ago. So Walter Bloomberg says Bitcoin could benefit from US fiscal dominance and a Trump win. Okay, so Standard Charters are saying basically if Trump comes into power, then things are going to start pumping. And they've given an end of year target here, 150K and $200,000 for year end 2025. Okay, so that is quite a long ride still. It's a long way to go. And, you know, we need to just be a little bit patient, but we seem to be on the right track here. If these guys are talking 150 to 200, you know, these altcoins are going to be pumping. You know, Render is going to be at $20, $30, $40, those type of things, if we are looking at Bitcoin at these levels. So remember, guys, this is just It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And all those super high leverage traders, again, a reminder, if this is your only strategy, you could end up coming short. Make sure you have spot going on, margin going on, and you're doing airdrops and all these types of things. And leverage trading is part of your crypto strategy. Don't make it your only strategy. Okay, Income Sharks, very good point as well. He's shown a little chart here. He's got the Bitcoin daily chart, and he's saying it's amazing how much frustration, over trading, and money gets lost in a period of chop. Now, remember, when times are good, it becomes so easy to make money. We fire up those trades. We just go long, long, long. They start ripping everywhere. But where do we need a strategy? And where do we need to be a little bit more watchful? And it's in times like these when we are in rangy sort of modes and in rangy areas. And he's predicting a long ranging BTC here on his chart till at least roughly August that he is putting out here. So that is an interesting one to note. And we saw Rec Capital was also talking about that yesterday when I showed you guys his accumulation area. And now Yoda has got a similar chart that we brought up. He's saying accumulation rally, reaccumulation rally. And he's also highlighted a nice big gray box here that we need to just watch closely and understand. And we could get a little bit of chop before things start firing off. So again, another reminder with these altcoins, if you are pumping on these altcoins and you are making money, make sure you are TPing in good areas. Make sure you are de-risking. There's nothing more painful for a leverage trader or any trader than a round trip. Those things really burn the most, especially when you're watching those gains go up. Look at that. There he is. There he is. Wait, let's get this right. Let's preempt this quickly. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. And keep me, and there we go, keep Uncle Ray very happy there for us. Okay, here's Gary Gensler talking again. I'm not going to play you this video, but jump onto my Twitter at the Lord of Entry. You can watch the video and see what he's saying. But basically, he's saying crypto is an outsized piece of scams, frauds, and problems in the overall market. So he's a little bit bearish on crypto still, in case you hadn't noticed. But he's got some comments there. So jump on my Twitter there at the Lord of Entry. You can see what is going on. I'm also dropping tons of alpha there for you guys. And Thomas Farah, he says, Bitcoin whales are buying the dip. They've added 10,000 BTC in the last week. Look at this. Shrimps, crabs, fish. Now, if you haven't noticed, they're categorizing it as sea creatures. But this is what he's saying. They've added 10,000 BTC in the last week. That is massive. That is huge things. Are people eyeing out bigger moves? Are they eyeing out much bigger things? And here is something else that ties in beautifully with this tweet. Crypto Quant saying longest minor consolidation accumulation period since 16K BTC. What is his theory here? He says with ETF flows rising, the odds increasing of a rate cut in Q4, miners are likely accumulating in anticipation of higher prices to sell into. Okay, that makes sense to us as well. So that is very interesting. And here's the news. This is what everyone was waiting for. This is what we were talking. Hello.
Hey there.
What's going on here? Hello. There's the legend. Okay, well, welcome to the back end there, legend. I hope you're prepping something there for us.
We'll find something good.
I didn't let him out of his cage, but he's jumped out. Bruce, prep us something quickly.
It's just a little teaser. The teaser. They need to smash the like button.
By accident.
Okay, prep us something, Bruce. Guys, if Ray's happy with the likes, the legend's going to bring you a little setup there. We've uncaged him there from the Sniper Club. So good to have him in the back. Here's the news. This is what everyone was waiting for. This is why we were long render. This is why we've been pumping render and AI tokens. This started about a week ago when we were looking at the Apple earnings, anticipating something was going to be happening with some of these tokens. And this is why we've been so bullish on AI for the last, say, 10 days. And then the news is out. So Apple just presented Octane X, the rendering software powered by Render, as the pro rendering app on the new iPad. Okay, all very interesting, but basically what does that mean? Pump render. And you can see what has been going on. This has been a mega trade. I've got one render position left. I'm still running it here on Bybit at the moment. I actually have clipped some of my profits on my margin render at the moment, and I'm just letting this one now run in case there is a little bit more juice in the tank. I'm going to let this one play out. So this one's ticking over nicely. And what is my strategy? When do I close this thing? Well, I think I'm going to be closing this one if we start losing this new resistance area that we've broken. If we test this as support and we start losing this area, then I'm going to start trimming that current render position, because that could indicate that things are potentially falling over there for render. So I'm watching 10.344. Let's watch that closely. For me, if we get a close under this area, I would expect render to come and visit this nice juicy zone that I've prepped here for you at 9.38. Okay, watch that area. Why is it nice? It's got horizontals, it's got the 50-day MA, and it's got a nice little 382. So we know if render takes a breather now after this news, the market realizes we need a little bit of a break after this massive move. Let's just confirm the size of this thing one more time. And look at this, 58%. Okay, please take some profits here. Really, take some profits. If you are still long render, do something and enjoy it. Right, pullback zones, that is my current plan. 10.34, we lose that, I'm looking at a little bit lower, and look, that's a juicy zone. Okay, if we start losing 9.38, 9.4, then maybe things aren't looking that good in the market, but I really like this 9.38 level for render. So mark that one on your charts. That is going to be a big zone for you guys. Okay, let's just look at dominance quickly. Remember, this is our nice little guide. This tells us how these altcoins are performing relative to Bitcoin and things like that. And it's great to watch this thing on the 4 hour. And this is a very handy chart that I've been watching very closely. And you can see at these key areas, we get dominance rejections or look for dominance rejections. And what does it mean when we get a rejection? It tells us that these altcoins start performing a little bit better relative to Bitcoin. When we get the pump off these support areas, then you can see that Bitcoin is in control. Now, the problem comes in, obviously, when Bitcoin starts dumping and you get a dominance pump. That's when you really need to be paying attention to where dominance is going to be rejecting when it starts pumping. Now, when Bitcoin is absolutely ripping and pumping, it's less pain on the altcoin. So let dominance pump. As long as Bitcoin's going up, then we're happy, then we chill. Those altcoins will hang around, they'll do their thing. And just look for these big rejection zones. And these are the areas where you get relief, a little bit of pain out there. I see Chris Cola says Near is looking good. Abid Khan says smash the like. Let's see what else we got. Sincerely George says smash the likes. More alpha, please. Panos says great trade. Thanks, bro. Look, AI, we got to tackle these narratives, okay? And obviously we can't bang out these narratives and get them exactly right every single time, but we got to watch where we think the market could be going. And that's why I've prepped this next narrative for you guys that I'm going to be tackling shortly. So stick around. We're going to get into some of those very soon. Okay, just want to tackle ETH. I really feel like I've become an absolute ETH bro because I talk about this thing so much. And I know the day I stop trading ETH and the day I close my ETH position is the day this thing is absolutely going to pump. So I'm still watching ETH very closely here. And Eric.ETH says essentially 9 straight weeks down for ETH. Okay, all possible FUD, bad news is on the table. I mean, there's more bad news on the table for ETH at the moment. So we've seen SEC delays decision on Invesco Galaxy Spot ETH ETF. Look, I think we know by now that we're looking at August anyway, but when you see this type of news come out, it is a little bit bearish and it does tend to affect things out there. And trader, what's his name here? 𝗪𝗙𝗪 says ETH seems to repeat the same candlestick pattern. So here's some bull source for the ETH traders over there. He's given you a reason why he thinks ETH is going to be pumping from this region over here. So that's the monthly chart. And look, what he's saying does make a little bit of sense here. If we look at history, and we know these charts, the history doesn't repeat, but we know it likes to rhyme. And if we get this sort of look around ETH on the monthly, maybe this is the bottom of the move. Maybe we are going to get some upside in ETH. But how does that help you right now? Well, right now we can look at ETH on the 8 hour and just start playing around with what we have. So we came back after that little rejection. You saw yesterday we had a rejection off that 618 fib, and now we've pushed down and we've got a nice little support band here. So 3,000, look how beautifully it actually pinged the support on the 3,000 level. So this area of support hasn't changed for now. So if you are trading ETH, 3,000 is your support level that you want to watch. If we start closing under, we start losing that level, that normally tells us the story. It normally tells us that we're potentially going to now visit lower levels on ETH. And then suddenly this 2.8 could potentially start coming into play again. So right now, for me, I'm watching 3,000 on ETH, watching this closely. If that was the bottom of the move, well, then you've got a banger entry here. And closing under 3K, maybe you want to start trimming a little bit because then the market's potentially turning a little bit lower. Then we can see Bitcoin trending down and maybe some of these alts are going to be sweating out. Now, is this bullish for Sol versus ETH? Now, when we see, SEC delaying things and ETH getting slapped around, does this does this work out better for Solana, for example? So we have noticed a little bit of Sol strength in the last couple of days relative to some other tokens. And you can see on the Sol versus ETH chart, you can see what's been going on here. Sol has been outshining ETH over the last while. Now, what has happened? It's finally banged into an interesting resistance zone. So what does this tell me? It tells me, well, Sol is about to absolutely rip if it can blow through this resistance zone, but we need to be cautious. Now, is it potentially time for ETH to start showing a little bit of strength versus Sol? So look out for something along these lines potentially, especially if ETH starts pumping now and outperforming, because then we know everybody's going to be pushing back into ETH, and there might be a couple of reasons why these guys will be moving into the ETH ecosystem soon. So keep your eyes on Sol versus ETH. Let me just shut that thing down as well quickly. There we go. Okay, now here's Sol versus USD. Okay, so very interesting. Also sitting at a resistance band. This is looking very interesting now. Are these two things tying in together now? We've got a nice little resistance area. We've had a nice pump from Sol, and now we are pushing into this 160 resistance. We can't seem to break it at the moment. So what is this telling me? We just need to exercise a little bit of caution here at this resistance level. So if you are long Sol and you're doing these types of things, remember, this is an area of interest for you to take profit. This is an area for you to tighten up your stops and things like that in case they want to now reverse it. Remember, we had a period not too long ago where we had Bitcoin sitting at resistance like this for quite a while, pushing into a trend. And what did they do? They actually dumped us, and they completely round-tripped some of the traders. So just be cautious. Remember, learn from what's happened in the past. And, last time we pushed up into this resistance zone, what did they do? They rejected us. Now we've pushed up into this resistance band. What could they do? They could easily send us a little bit lower here. So eyes on 140 for Sol traders. That is still your main support level that you want to watch. Watch that 140 closely. And what is the next bull play for Solana? Well, the next bull play for Sol is to really crack the 50-day MA and this 160 level very nicely. And just like that render chart that's at resistance now, these are all big zones. We want to just blow that area and make sure we have a little bit of support there to work with. And then we can start tracking our next play for Sol. And then that next target is going to be 190. It's going to be 200, those type of levels. But remember, just be clever, be strategic here. If you're trading high leverage, you need to be cautious at these big resistance zones. If you're trading spot, you're trading margin, you can relax slightly more. And your big area of interest for you is going to be this 140 level. So keep your eyes on that one. Now, if Sol starts blowing resistance, what do I expect is going to happen here? I would expect some of the Sol ecosystem to start running, to start pumping. And my go-to is often Radium. So this is the DEX on Solana, and you can see it's teeing up. The same way Sol versus ETH is at resistance. Sol versus USDT is at resistance. Sol Radium USDT is sitting at resistance as well. Look at this 50-day MA coming into play once again. I promised you guys I would stop saying the word 50-day MA, but I can't help myself. It's on every single chart that we are looking at the moment. And here it is, massive resistance, 1.85. So exactly the same game plan here. When Radium starts blowing this 50-day MA, we can get slightly more bullish. We just want to confirm that support, and that's going to tell us that the next phase is going to be happening. The next move is going to be happening. But until we start breaking this convincingly, we have to just treat this with a little bit of caution now, because remember, resistance zones, and what do resistance zones do? They tend to reject you, and you can trade these areas until they break. At some point they break. Is this the time that it breaks? Obviously, we can't say for sure. That's why exercise caution, because they can easily come and send us back down to this 200-day moving average. That would be an easy push for Radium down to 1.31. So look out if we do get a pullback, 1.31 on Radium. Let's be patient. Let's wait for this little bullish break here, and maybe there's going to be something on the cards. Remember, this 50-day moving average offers great support and great resistance. Look at this. The last time we broke the 50-day MA, what did we do? We came back, we retested, and we bounced off it. Okay. Then we lost it. What did we do? We pushed into it, we rejected off it. So if we blow through it this time, we can then look for confidence, and long with confidence there on the pullback onto that 50-day MA based on what this chart is telling us. So use this 50-day MA to your favor. Let's see. Leon says, Dill, your beard looks like the Nike logo from the side. Looks clean. Just pump it. I agree. It's a clean beard, nice and sharp. Let's see what else we got. Banter Bag number 9 says render run. And Kevin actually destroyed the like. I think he's broken his mouse button there, or his keyboard. potentially.
Everyone else needs to smash it too, not just Kevin.
Well, Chaos says headbutt the like. I mean, that could hurt. That could really actually hurt if you guys still using mice. You're going to be smashing that mouse on your head there. Daniel says Cass looks bullish. Guys, we might have to pull out this Cash chart. I know I looked at it yesterday. I was telling you, I was a little bit bearish on Cass until we started breaking the 200-day, the 50-day. So guys, let me know in the chat, the traders out there, have we broken the 200-day MA on Cass? If we have, I'll pull it up. Okay, so please let me know in the chats. Pull out that 200-day MA. If we've smashed it, then it might warrant a little look. Okay, now what is my narrative that I'm talking about before I get to my 5x token? Now we've had this 𝗟𝗏𝗍 situation where everybody was so unhappy. They had all these different rules with the airdrops, and it felt like everybody got screwed, and people were so pissed off with the current situation. But we did notice that we didn't have severe dumpage in some of the restaking tokens that a lot of people expected. So these tokens started really holding pretty well. And now we've seen this week, we've got the launch of Puffer's mainnet. Puffer Finance, their mainnet launches on Wednesday. Okay, is this going to give this restaking vibe a little bit of energy over the next few days? Look at this Puffer Finance. They've got $1.4 billion locked already. I mean, that's a lot of dollars that are locked up. Now, these guys don't have a token. And there's another one here as well, Swell. Okay, they also pre-launching. They at around about $1 billion. Okay, pre-launch. Now, these guys don't have tokens. So how do you play a game like this? Well, what you can do is you can start looking at some other restaking projects that could potentially pump based on this energy, based on this new narrative now and all the hype surrounding this. Are these other tokens going to start moving? And what you can do is you can go to CoinGecko and create a watch list there of restaking tokens. Okay, so you can take a look at these projects and you can pick your favorites and you can fiddle around and you can start spotting which ones you think could potentially be pumping. But I have selected a couple for you of interest, and I've prepped a couple of entries, and I've put this now on my watch list. These are things we might want to be getting involved in the near future. This stuff might be firing within the next couple of days. So the first one I wanted to bring to your attention was PENDLE Finance, and you can see what's going on here. PENDLE's had a nice little pump, but they've had a rejection off this 50-day moving average. So this is notable. Obviously, it's coming into play once again on pretty much every altcoin on TradingView. So here we go. We're currently rejecting this 50-day MA. Where's my juicy area? Where's my high conviction long zone for PENDLE? Well, if this narrative starts ripping in the next few days, we might not see a 618 pullback on PENDLE. This is around about 4.5. But what I want to suggest here is watch this area very closely for PENDLE. We know this thing can move. Look at the last time we had a PENDLE pump. Let's just look at the size of this move they gave us. 225%. Okay, the last time PENDLE turned bullish. Is this an opportunity now for PENDLE to have another go and really start looking a little bit more bullish? Well, perhaps. So based on this information here that I'm giving you, this is something you need to be watching. So 618 pullback for me for PENDLE, round about 4.6. That is my juicy zone. That's my high conviction zone for PENDLE. If you are buying spot, it's a little bit less critical to get an exact sort of max greedy entry, but that is a nice little level that you want to be playing at. And I'm looking for that move. If we dip into that area, I'm going to say, look, stake in the ground. These are the lows, and we don't want to see lower than this. And I would suggest if you're trading spot, you want to exit if you start losing this 4 level. Okay, so grab some of this PENDLE, preferably in this entry box down here. And if we start losing the previous lows, that tells us that this idea is invalidated, and PENDLE is going straight to hell after that, and you'll be tackling the 200-day MA. So don't get caught up in a trade that's starting to lose massive levels, starting to lose trends. That is not a place where you want to be. So ideally, you want PENDLE to hold this trend and try and grab it here at this 4.5 region. That could be a hot zone for us. Okay, another banger that could be playing out. Now, I'm watching this one closely, and you can see I've banged out a trend line as well. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to rush these things. You can just get your watch list out. This is the ETHFI 8-hour chart, okay? So another restaking project that you can pay attention to. And what is my play here? Game plan here is wait for some kind of trend break. If this narrative starts gaining steam and things start picking up, we're going to see things like ETHFI start pushing quite quickly into this trend. And then you can really start paying attention once we break that trend. You can see this 50-day MA has just arrived recently. It's quite a new project. Here it is now coming into play. So what does this look like for me? A little pump into the 50-day, little rejection, and then something along those lines could be the ideal situation here for me on ETHFI. So take a look at that. Maybe a runner this week could be coming into play. And then I've got another one for you guys. Altlayer also teeing up quite nicely. It's been very quiet, the last while and minding its own business. But you can see what is going on here with Altlayer. This is Altlayer on the 12-hour chart that I'm watching very closely, and very notable. We've drifted back into these range lows. You can see what happened last time. They sent it down and they've reclaimed it. And now we are visiting range lows again. So I'm looking to grab a little bit of this Altlayer either on a pullback into this range low area here at 0.348. Okay, nice little area here, nice juicy little zone here, 0.348. Or alternatively, you're going to kick back and you're going to wait. And I'm going to show you a trick now, how to set an alarm on a trend line. But ideally, you want to just see this thing start breaking trend. Once we've broken trend, we know this thing's potentially turning bullish again. And we're going to target a little bit higher at 0.453. So we're going to be looking at that region there. And how do I set an alarm on a trend line? Well, this is a nice little tip for those of you that are new to TradingView. You can highlight the trend line and you can right click it and you can say add alert on trend line. Okay, so just click that alert button and there you go. You can set your alert. So the minute the candle starts pinging the trend line, you're going to get an alarm and then you can make your decision. You can decide how you are going to play that potential trade. Are we going there, Legend? Have you prepped something there for us yet?
Oh, I got a couple goodies.
Really?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, hit those likes. The Legend's going to come. He's come out of Sniper Club here, and he's going to give you guys something. So make sure Ray wants
5 more likes. 5 more likes.
5 more likes, Ray. Jeez, we're aiming low here, bro. We want 5 likes. Let's.
They got there quick. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I quite like this guy, Arpina. Dylan looks like Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. I think it's the cap. It must be the cap. That guy's a legend, though. That guy's a legend. Okay, you guys want a 5xer? Okay, this is what I think could potentially be a 5xer. Now, I touched on this one on Sunday night. So for those of you that were paying attention, on Sunday night, I brought you 3 tokens. One of them was Velo. The other one was Ray. What was the other one I brought on Sunday night? I brought 3 tokens. It was Velo. Remains to be, I stand to be corrected. Ray's going to let me know. And the other one was 𝗔𝗘. Okay. Why did I like 𝗔𝗘? Why was 𝗔𝗘 interesting to me? So, number 1, okay, I'm going to remind you again. Restaking is now coming to Solana via 𝗔𝗘. So, 𝗔𝗘 becomes the largest protocol on Sol with $1.4 billion in TVL. Okay. And what's happened here? Now, 1.5 million per day on 𝗔𝗘 Sol validated tips. One of the best fundamental charts in crypto. Fundamental, guys. Tell me why this is making you hot under the collar here. And 𝗔𝗘, we've seen the headline. Okay, restaking coming to Sol. What does that mean? We know all the pumpage on some of these other tokens, and restaking means we stake our tokens. Okay, we plug them in and we get some kind of return. But now they're saying, well, you can get tokens back and you can stake them again for double. I mean, did someone say biggest Ponzi pyramid scheme in history? Well, if it's got a chart and it's going to pump, I think we're allowed to trade it. Okay, so here's 𝗔𝗘. And I called this thing on Sunday, and it's been pushing nicely. Okay, so things are looking nice and juicy here for 𝗔𝗘. So well done if you guys did grab 𝗔𝗘. I'm sitting in a spot 𝗔𝗘 position. We've had a nice move so far, 13.4%. I think this one can be an absolute savage. Once people start getting involved in this. I see Chaos in the chat here. He says, stake 𝗔𝗘 on Sanctum to earn airdrops. Airdrop pets. Come to Sniper Club for more. There we go. Okay, now if that's not an advert for what's going down in Sniper Club, then I don't know what is. Okay, so 𝗔𝗘 traders, it's not too late to get involved. You can see you've got major support. Okay, this is the same support we were looking at on Sunday, 3.42. Okay, 3.42. This is big support that you want to pay attention to. This is your first line of support. Okay, if we do get a drop into the zone, that is where you're looking for buys. That is where you're looking for a bounce, and you're exiting. If you start losing that 50-day MA, it generally tells you a story. It generally tells you that it's going to start trying to target your next low. Now that's up to you to decide if you want to build a position on these solid areas or you want to cut if you lose the 50-day MA. But as far as I'm concerned, 𝗔𝗘𝗑 is going to be a pumper. 𝗔𝗘𝗑 is going to be a runner. I'm locked and loaded on this thing, and 3.42 is my area that I'm watching. And you know, what are the potential targets? Where can this thing potentially go? So number one, you can just pull a fib from the absolute high to the low. Okay, so what I've done here is I pulled a fib from these highs here on the 3rd of April down to the lows on the 14th of April, and then you can pull out the 1.618 fib. Okay, and that generally tells you where something can potentially go to. And the first area of interest is going to be around about the 7 level. So I'm looking at 7. Call it just above 7. Okay, let's call it 7 for the sake of this argument as our first potential target here for 𝗔𝗘𝗑 if things start turning super bullish. Okay, then there's a 2.618 as well at around about 10. So I'm watching those areas closely. These are great TP zones. If this thing starts flying, if this thing starts ripping, obviously you don't want to hold this thing until, you know, your full size, till it gets to that 1.618, because anything can happen. Remember, things get in the way. Things like other resistance zones can get in the way for you. So look out and make sure you're taking profit at other key areas as this thing starts moving higher. And if it continues to move higher, make sure you are clipping profits as you go. So potential profit zones where you want to be cutting 4.1, you're looking at 4.4, and you're looking at 5.3. These are all areas where you can potentially TP, where you can take some profit. And remember, when we start blowing through areas like that, they tend to start becoming support zones for us as well, that we can pay attention to. So look out there for 𝗔𝗘𝗑, loving that support down there. And again, reminder, we've got 382, we've got horizontals, and we've got the 50-day MA coming into play on 𝗔𝗘𝗑. So all looking good at the moment. And then Athena, oh, there he is. There he is.
I don't know how I ended up there.
Did they allow you? Did they allow you back in here? So guys,
they took my shackles off. I don't know what I'm doing.
So if you don't know, okay, this is the legend. Okay, this is Bruce. He's sometimes in the chat as Sean. Okay, don't be deceived. His name is actually Bruce, and he's one of our traders in the Sniper Club. But he's way more than a trader. I mean, he's an absolute, what should we call you? An amazing mentor in there to all the Sniper Club members. And he runs a lot of Zooms. He runs a lot of things going on in the Sniper Club, but he's an excellent trader as well. And yeah, let's unleash the beast here. And right. tell us what you got.
We can do. I got a couple things to look at. 2 of them kind of normal, and then one kind of interesting. So
one kind of interesting. Okay, let's see.
One kind of interesting. Yeah. Hold on. So I was looking at 𝗔𝗘𝗑 as you were mentioning it, but so I'm in 2 trades.
Bruce invented trading.
One
There's
is
a comment. There's a comment saying Bruce invented trading.
Can you see it? Okay, good. Let me just check if you can see it. So one of the ones have been this dot. Pretty clear break, and pretty clear horizontal level there at the 382 from that move. It basically every time it goes through, it breaks through cleanly, retests, breaks through cleanly, retests, breaks through cleanly, retests. If it holds this level, definitely looking for a push up to the next level, possibly a little bit of slowdown in the 50-day moving average. But what I like is it's just about to break through the 200-day moving average. If that breaks through that, then I expect we're gonna definitely take a pump. So I just entered this a little bit ago, but we're still definitely in the range to take a small entry right over here. And I'm gonna be cautious with this trade until it breaks that 7.54 level. That's what I call my risk level. But what I'm hoping is that we stay above here, keep that happy fun line, as you call it. Right, break up, retest, at which point I'll definitely add a lot onto the trade and hopefully carry it up into that area. The other one I'm looking at, and actually,
what is your stop there, Bruce? Do you want to just give them your stop there quickly?
So my stop is right under the 382. So that is 6.91 right now. When it breaks up a little, if it breaks this high right here, I'll up it just a little bit because it shouldn't come back down. If it breaks, let me zoom in so you can see it. If it breaks this, come on, delete. There we go, delete. If it breaks this high right over here, right, that recent high, right there. Then I'll raise my stop up to just below break even. Once it prints a higher low, then I'll move it above break even. But so we're really right at entrance right now, and when that region's good to go. Stop loss right now at about 6.9, and we'll see what happens with it. Looking good.
Just on my point from yesterday, I was actually ripping off DOT. I was ripping off ADA, XRP, and all these types of things. But if there's a trade, there's a trade. Okay.
Yeah.
We mustn't be scared to make money, even though I think DOT.
Exactly. I mean, the setup was perfect. I'm not a big DOT fan. I actually don't understand what parachains are doing now. I see articles that look good, and then articles that go, it's a piece of dust. But if you got a setup, you got a setup. And given the fact that there's a huge imbalance right there, that if the market does decide to push up, then DOT should take a healthy jump from anywhere from 10% up to 21%. Then I'll take it.
Okay, nice. Just a quick question. Nick says, what leverage are you using here? He says, what leverage?
Very low. All these trades are usually when I start a trade, I start with small position sizes, low leverage, just to get in, because the early part of a trade is very risky. Once a trade proves that it's actually going to go in a direction you want it to go, that's a good place to wait for that first higher low, like I showed over here, right? Let that first higher low print, be patient, and right there, Sheldon draws a little trend line in here when it's retracing, right? And then I'm breaking that trend line. Perfect place to add on to your trade. It raises your average entry a little bit, but now you've got confidence that this thing's actually moving in the direction that you want.
Nice.
So you're not
nice.
Much.
Okay, what else you got there? What else are you cooking in the back?
Well, I got a fairly similar one in Phantom. That's almost exactly the same, and I really like this one. Phantom, I think, is just waiting for a good move. It's been an uptrend, retesting that trend line. I would wait for it to take a small little retrace again to that trend line, a small entrance right over here. And what you're really looking for is a break of that bigger trend line and a retest of it to add on a full position. And then you're off to the races right over there. My stop is below that recent low right over there at 0.6817. And if the market does pull back, by the way, I posted this in Sniper Club. If the market does pull back, then I'll simply start looking for a better entrance down around the 618, which is around 66 cents.
Okay, nice. So covered both ways there. Okay, so you'll you lose that trend. If you dip lower, you've got another entry teed up. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Again, you test these entrances out, right? Because you don't know what the market's going to do. And if the market confirms that you're in a great place, add on. If it's proving to be wrong, you either start pulling back like you described, like cutting your position, or have a stop, get out, and look for a better price below. I mean, give me a break. If I get stopped out here, I lose. What do I lose? I lose 2%. But if it comes down to the 618 over there, then I'm looking at an additional 5%, 6%. So what happens? I lose 2, I get 4 extra. So getting stopped out's not a bad thing. It just means you got to get a better entrance and more profit down the line.
Guys, if you want more action, okay, come join us in the Sniper Club. There's a link in the description, okay? If you want to find out what it's all about, I always get this wrong, Bruce. 8 to 10 Zooms per week get done. We cover everything from trading psychology to beginner trading courses. The guys are there to mentor you. We've got incredible mods in the Discord as well, looking after you guys. There's a full team in there. So,
I was just reading just before I came on, I was just reading through the traders chat with the new moderators, and I got to tell you that the level of maturity in Sniper Club for trading is gone through the roof. The little bit less gambling, a little bit less degen, and more consistent profits, which is what I think everybody wants. So I'm really enjoying it.
That's what people want to do. You want to be a profitable trader? Come learn how the guys are doing it. Come hang out with the team in the Sniper Club. Okay, Bruce, hang around if you want to. I'm going to carry on. Yeah, I was going
to show this last one, which is one I got from David, another amazing trader in club, which is ZEUS. Because you were talking about Solana, Dylan, and this is a bridge between Bitcoin and Solana. we picked it up a little bit over here, but David was looking at trade down over here, and it came all the way back and retested this level. So this is a spot trade. This is not one to take a lot of risk on, because if we lose this level, there's nothing below. So be a little cautious with this one. But the upside on this one is just too juicy to pass on. So this is a spot trade that I'm really excited about. And it's pushed up a little bit since I got in, but it's still definitely down in that entrance area.
Zoom in quickly and just give them your entry and your exit zones there, just so we can see clearly there.
So the entry is around, and I expect it'll come back to it, is right around 43 cents, 43, 43.1, kind of anywhere in that range, right over there. My stop is below that last wick. So actually, I gave it a little more room just because it's spot and I can afford that. So look at your somewhere on 39.8 is probably pretty safe to give it room to play around. But after that, if it loses this wick right there, this is a little more generous than I want to give it. But if it loses 38.52, get out, because there's nothing below to catch it.
Okay, nice one. So a couple of nice clean setups. If you want to learn more about this and how it gets done, well, number one, you can go to the Sniper School, and preferably go through the school, because if you get to Sniper Club, you're looking at these type of things. And if this is confusing to you, the best thing you can do is do Sniper School first, then come hang out with us at Sniper Club and really sharpen your tools, and we'll help you understand what is going on there. Okay, Bruce, hang around. I've got a couple more things to talk about. This is Ethena Labs, okay, ENA, and they had some news come out today. They said excited to share one of the most important developments for USDE adoption to date. Anyway, bullish news going on here. Sounds like a couple of people are going to get involved in this thing as well, and we had a little pump on that news, and I jumped into this little trade. Let's see if this is going to hold. I'm going to show you my current trade now, and we're going to test if this thing is going to hold. So right now, let's just mark this out quickly. You can see what's happened here. It's blown through some resistance, so it was playing around in that area. Let's just look at some fibbage here. Let's just see if we can get some supports to play out with us here quickly. Okay, so you can see what's going on here. We've got a 382 and horizontals a little bit lower down. So let me just thin this out a little bit here and just try and highlight this zone. Okay, so this is an interesting zone here for me now for ENA 0.906. So I'm watching this as a potential pullback. Now, this is my current situation. This is me in weeks. So I've been trading this in weeks, and we jumped into this little pump there, started moving, and I'm currently running a fetch long still. So I haven't closed that yet. This was still the AI narrative play, and if we're running AI into NVIDIA earnings, maybe we're going to hold one or two of these AI tokens open still. I have been taking profit on some others, but I want to leave one or two open, and let's see, maybe fetch is the one that's going to run now into the NVIDIA earnings. So we'll see how that plays out. ENA, little pumper here. Let's see if this is going to hold. You can see my average entry here, 0.917, and let me just adjust my stops now and just make sure that we tie this thing up properly. I don't want to get stopped out above a support level, so I'm watching 0.906. So if we start losing, say 0.89, that is where I need to move my stops down to. So what we can do on weeks, you can actually just drag your stops down. Okay, so you can just highlight it there like that, and you just pull it lower, and there we go. So we're just moving these two little stops a little bit lower down. And there we go. So very similar principle to some of the other trading exchanges that I'm doing. And guys, don't forget, for weeks, there's a limited offer. There's 4 days left now. Okay, there's a lot happening with weeks, but there's a limited offer for the link in the description. They are KYC friendly. Number one, they're offering you a 20% sign-up bonus, and there's currently 0 fees if you are trading Sol and you are trading Render, and there's a handful of other tokens, but Render and Sol, very topical at the moment. So if you're trading those, there's no fees, okay, at the moment on those. So get involved. And then they also are launching a token. Okay, how do you farm that token? How do you get involved in the token? Well, I can tell you what, if you are trading on weeks, you might be benefiting from some kind of airdrop, or you might be benefiting on some kind of deal on their token that they are launching. And I remind you again, any exchange that is new, that starts developing good products and things like that, they launch a token. What happens when their products take off and things like that? That token price starts moving higher. So get stuck into weeks, give it a try, and let us know how you're going, because I've been trading this thing. They've been making changes as we go. I'm speaking to the team, and so far so good, and enjoying it at the moment. Okay, I've got one more that I want to talk to you about. It was topical and Sol ecosystem. So let's say Solana starts waking up again. Sometimes it's fun to look at Sol ecosystem tokens, and I haven't looked at this Helium in a very long time. And I just thought let's just talk about it. Let's have a look and see what is going on, because we haven't checked in on this guy for quite a while. So I just wanted to see where we are in the current situation on Helium. Let's look at some key levels here and let's see what is going on. So let's pull our fibs from the low to the high. And this is now the weekly chart that I'm looking at, and we're trying to identify, what big supports we're hitting, what zones of interest are we hitting, and look at that. And they've come here and they front ran a weekly zone and the 786. So we know now for Helium, there's huge support. For Helium, guys, down at 3.26. So that is a good start for where things are going. And now we've had a nice little pump on Helium. Is this worth looking at? Well, if you are bullish on Sol and the ecosystem, maybe we're going to get something out of this Helium. So what I would suggest here is watch this 382. You can see what's going on here. We're hovering on some support at the moment, but I would suggest look at this 382. Look for a reaction here in this zone. And we want to see how this is going to play out soon, because right now we can see we are under the 200-day and we are under the 50-day MA. Is this a sign, that they want to send us lower, or are we going to come out with a pump and just blow through this? And is this stuff going to give us some kind of support, once we start popping that area? So look out for a higher low in this region. Ideally, you're looking for something along these lines, a little push down into this 382, and then maybe that little move higher. So I would suggest Helium, any pullbacks you can flirt around here, round about 5, look in that zone. Could be an interesting one for you guys. And lower down, look out here. Nice little buy zone at the 618 and horizontals for you at 4.45. Okay, so 2 little areas of interest here. If you are eyeing Helium, if you are interested in what they're doing as well, we know they've got a couple of things going on, out there. I think they got projects in Mexico or something along those lines. So they
do Internet of Things, and I've been mining Helium for about 3 years now, and it's the promise of what it's going to do is pretty amazing. So.
Okay, so there's action. Okay, that's what you need to know. There's action at the moment. And right, guys, so that is it. That's a wrap. Bruce, thanks for hanging. Thanks for joining. It was a nice surprise. You jumped in. We'll do it again. Okay, guys, you've got some good areas. You've got some good levels. You know what we're working with at the moment. Maybe some bangers brewing in the next week or so. We could be onto a nice little narrative, guys. That is all from me. 46 minutes. We nailed it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Back same time, same place. Have a good evening. If I can find my end screen. Still looking for it. There it is. Later.